All right, welcome. This is Dr. Ryan Betts of Radix Chiropractic with our next episode of Spizz. And today we're going to build off our previous episode, which focused on the X-ray technology that we use here at Radix Chiropractic, the purpose, the intention, and the benefits of X-ray. By today going a little bit further into the details of what X-rays provide us as an analytical tool, but also as a tool to allow us to deliver the most specific chiropractic adjustment that we are able to for the proper care of your spine and your nerve system. So today, let's begin with refreshing a little bit about the spine, how it's designed, how it's put together, and then we'll go into the film. So first of all, when we're looking at a spinal column, we do take full spine X-rays, different spot shots beginning up in the neck. We look at the back of the spine, we look at the side of the spine, and then coming down, we look at the back and the side of the mid-back, low back, and pelvis. In all, we get a whole complete 360-degree view of your spine. We also do motion X-rays, so we do flexion, we do extension, we do side bending views of the lumbar spine. This gives us even more information into how your spine is mechanically moving to see where there's the presence or absence of subluxation. So to refresh on a subluxation, that is when a vertebrae in the spine goes out of alignment in comparison with the vertebrae above and below it. That subluxated vertebrae then compresses and irritates that delicate nerve as it's exiting out your spine. And as a result of that subluxation, we begin to lose communication in the body. We begin to break down the brain to body communication because those nerve pathways are what relay information to and from the brain. And when a subluxation is present, that interference to that nerve causes the signals to not get out to your body like they were designed to. As a kind of a generic analogy, it would be as if I have a garden hose that needs to be fully supplying water to a garden, but if I step on that garden hose, it's going to interfere with the output of water to the garden. In the same manner, the subluxated vertebrae is compressing that nerve, not allowing proper flow of nerve signals from the brain out to the body, which causes detrimental effects and a lot of breakdown in our health. So that's a refresher on what a subluxation is. So let's go a little further into what an example of an X-ray looks like and what we should be seeing on these spinal X-rays. So first of all, this X-ray here is of the side view of the neck. From the side of our spine, we should have some proper curvatures. We should have a curve in the neck, a curve in the mid-back, and a curve in the lower back. And it looks like a mild S, so we call it the S curvature. Then from the back of the spine, or a straight-on view, I say it should be straight as an arrow, should be straight up and down. So with this being a side view of the neck, we're looking for a C-shaped curve in the neck. That's the first thing I'm looking for right away. What begins to happen as we begin to live our life, though, this nice C-shaped curve begins to straighten out over the years. Now, this is an example where we're starting to lose some of the curvature. This patient here has some of it retained. But what causes our spine to straighten out is what happens a lot in our society with people that are looking downward, gazing at a computer desk in school, but that forward flexion of the head puts substantial stress on the neck, and over time, that beautiful curve that once was there begins to diminish. Now, what happens to your spine as we lose the curve is much like what would happen if we took a bent stick and we tried to straighten it. If we have a bent stick and we straighten it, there is going to be pressure in the middle of that stick, and it's going to put substantial tension in there. That exact same thing happens in our spine too. When that neck straightens out, these cervical vertebrae have abnormal stress on them, and what begins to happen is the bones will begin to develop degenerative changes. So looking at the film, what the bones should look like, each vertebrae should look like an ice cube. So it's basically like a square/rectangle shape with rounded edges, nice smooth borders. That's what we should be seeing on the film. But what begins to happen is what we see on this phases of degeneration model right here. We go from having a nice healthy spine with nice discs in the middle, nice smooth vertebrae, to phase 1 of degeneration is the disc begins to thin out and degenerate. Phase 2, we begin to see bone spurs that actually start to form on the front and back of the vertebrae. And with that spurring effect is a sign that that vertebrae is under substantial stress due to subluxation. So in this patient's example, there is some early stage 1 signs of degeneration happening, and the discs in between the vertebrae are thinning out a bit. So I would classify that patient as stage 1 of degeneration. And that's something that for every patient in our practice that we get x-rays on, we go through this chart here, which is the progressive phases of cervical and lumbar degeneration, to see where your body's at. It gives us an overview of what is the percentage of recovery we can expect, what is the corrective time that we would be looking at to get your spinal subluxations corrected and stabilized. So that's how thorough we want to be with our analysis of these films. The other thing that these x-rays give us a clue or an indication of is as we start to see degenerative effects in the vertebrae themselves, and as we start to see the loss of that curvature, we need to keep in mind that even though this x-ray only shows hard tissue, meaning bone, it doesn't show the discs, it doesn't show the nerves, we do a neurological scan at the office to then see how the nervous system is being impacted by the loss of proper alignment of the spine. So those are a few of the things, for example, on this lateral cervical x-ray that we're taking a look at. And then we do similar comparisons and whatnot throughout the rest of the spine. And then as somebody begins chiropractic care, further down the road when we do progress films, we look at the pre and post effects of the specific chiropractic adjustments that you're receiving to see what kind of changes we produce in the body. So along that lines of talking about the specificity of care that we provide here at Radix Chiropractic, we provide specific scientific chiropractic adjustments delivered to each and every patient. The specificity comes in from doing proper analysis of your x-rays, and then the scientific aspect comes in from the chiropractic adjustment, but also from the neurological scans that we perform as well. Those nerve scans, tracking those over time, we get to see how taking care of the structure properly affects in a positive way the effect of the function of your nervous system. So it truly is structure determining function in your body. And throughout that progress of care, we get to see not only how things are changing structurally and physically with the spine and nerve system, but we get to track all the great changes and benefits that you receive from taking care of your spine and nerve system, like the organ systems getting better. I see patients with digestive issues getting better, immune system dysfunction getting better, sinus issues, headaches. I mean, a whole slew of things can get better under chiropractic care because, again, as we begin to take care of your spine and nerve system, we're giving your body back 2 keys to its health. Number 1, giving your body back the ability to self-heal. And number 2, we're giving the body back the ability to self-regulate. That's what our bodies are designed to do. But as we begin to develop subluxation throughout the course of our life, our healing begins to diminish and the regulation of our body begins to diminish as well. Healing's pretty self-explanatory. Aches, pains, symptoms begin to come into the picture, but also the different systems in the body begin to degenerate and break down, and our body is not healing and repairing itself at the rate and rhythm that it should be. With the regulatory side, that can be a little bit more confusing. What I'm speaking of there is all the processes in the body that the brain is regulating. Everything from your circadian rhythm, like your sleep-wake cycle, nutrition cycles, how often your body's being cued to provide nutrients to it, your focus, your attention, even the regulation of hormone balances in the body too, which affects moods, attitudes, ability to concentrate. So through chiropractic care, I oftentimes see individuals focusing better, especially I see it in a lot of kids too, kids that have the inability to just laser focus on their schoolwork. They become more attentive, better students, honestly, because they're being able to process more bits of information as we get their nerve system better. It also has a calming effect on the body. So I'll often see individuals, whether it's kids or adults, their bodies are really hyperactive at times, and they start getting adjusted, and it calms the nerve system down. It has an amazing calming effect to get better sleep, get better rest, better healing for the body. Even changes moods. It changes how we relate to others. So I could go on and on about the benefits of chiropractic care, but with that being said, it all begins with the proper care of our spine and our nervous system. And one thing that I like to think of as well is, I often see a lot of adults come into the practice here with a lot of breakdown in the body. And once we begin to explain this, analyze it, and as I kind of give a roadmap of how we can best take care of you, I often get the comment of, man, I wish I would have met you 10, 15 years ago before this all started. And it's comments like that just reinforce for me that it's far easier to raise stronger children through chiropractic care than it is to fix broken adults. And I hate to use the word broken, but the truth is a lot of us come into this feeling like our body is breaking down on us, like it's giving up on us. And whereas an adult, we can reverse those effects quite often, it's far easier to meet a person when they're a child and get their spine and nerve system healthier at that age. That way they grow up at a much better pace. Their body is growing and developing like it was designed to, and they don't have damaging effects on their spine, especially with grade school kids. I mean, I can't tell you, well, first of all, our body is not designed to sit in a school desk for prolonged periods of time like most of our kids are forced to do just through the school day. So just that effect alone on the spine, I see phase 1 and even phase 2 degeneration in adolescence, in middle school age kids, and even I've seen it in elementary age kids too. Now in our practice, we don't take x-rays on an individual until they're at least 12 years of age. If there's indications of needing that earlier on, we do a thorough examination, including orthopedic and neurological testing first, to warrant and determine medical necessity for those x-rays. But I have even taken films on children as young as 7, 8 years of age and have already begun to see phase 1 of the degeneration process in the neck alone. So it's for that reason that doing a thorough analysis of the spine is going to get you the best results with your chiropractic care. And it's why we really need to take a peek at the spine to determine exactly how these vertebrae are subluxated, so we know how exactly we need to begin adjusting them into the proper direction or the proper vector to get your spine as strong and healthy as we can. So I hope today's episode gave you some good information, a little bit of an insight into how we analyze these x-rays. This was one of a series of films that we do on the spine. We x-ray from the top of the spine all the way down to the tailbone to get a complete view of your spinal health and ultimately the health of your nervous system in your body. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Spizz. Hopefully you're walking away with some tidbits of information that you can pass along to family and friends. And I look forward to seeing you on our next episode. God bless.